The year 1945 marked the end of World War II, a global conflict that left scars across nations and continents. For Korea, it brought a different kind of wound division. After decades under Japanese rule, the Korean peninsula found itself caught in the throes of the burgeoning Cold War. The United States occupied the south and the Soviet Union took control of the north, with the 38th parallel serving as a hastily drawn dividing line. This arbitrary partition sowed the seeds of political, social and economic discord that would plague the peninsula for decades to come. The division of Korea was not merely a geographical demarcation. It was a cleaving of ideologies, aspirations and futures. The Communist North, under the iron grip of Kim Il-sung, embarked on a path of isolation and authoritarianism, prioritizing military might over the well-being of its people. The South, initially under the autocratic rule of Syngman Rhee, gradually moved towards a democratic system and a market-driven economy, forging alliances with the West. This stark contrast in trajectories led to a widening gulf between the two Koreas. The North, fueled by a narrative of victimhood and driven by an insatiable desire for reunification under its terms, poured its resources into building a formidable military apparatus. The South, focused on economic development and wary of its neighbors' intentions, sought security through partnerships with the United States and other Western powers. The Korean War, a brutal conflict that erupted in 1950, further solidified this division. Though technically a stalemate, the war left a legacy of mistrust, animosity and militarization that continues to cast a long shadow over the Korean peninsula. The crashing waves of the Pacific held no prejudice as they battered the mangled wreckage of the aircraft. 5 figures, miraculously alive but battered and bruised, emerged from the debris. They found themselves stranded on Dulichium, a speck of an island swallowed by the vastness of the ocean.
Joe Furland, a seasoned pilot with haunted eyes, took charge, his instincts honed from years of navigating perilous situations. Phil Wise, a communications expert known for his calm demeanor even in the face of chaos, assessed their predicament. Peter Williams, the youngest of the group and a brilliant engineer, began scavenging for anything that could aid their survival. Chris Johnson, a medic with a wry sense of humor, tended to their injuries, his hands working with practiced efficiency. John Michael, a linguist and cultural attaché, scanned the horizon, his knowledge of the region offering little solace in their isolation.
Dulichium was unforgiving. Its dense jungle offered limited sustenance, and the ever-present threat of tropical storms kept them on edge. Their initial attempts at signaling for help proved futile, their distress calls swallowed by the static of the vast ocean. As days turned into weeks, the weight of their isolation pressed down on them, testing their resilience and pushing them to the brink. Yet amidst the struggle for survival, a strange camaraderie began to blossom. They were strangers thrown together by fate, their backgrounds and beliefs as diverse as the skills that bound them together in this desperate fight for survival. Joe's leadership, tempered with a quiet empathy, provided a sense of direction, while Phil's unwavering optimism offered a glimmer of hope in the face of despair. Thousands of miles away, Joe Furland's brother, Russell Jacobson, moved through the shadowy world of international espionage. A skilled operative with a network of contacts spanning continents, Russell had long been a thorn in the side of those who threatened global stability. When he caught wind of his brother's disappearance, a cold fury ignited within him, a determination to move heaven and earth to find him.
His pursuit led him to the heart of Moscow, to a clandestine meeting with a high-ranking Russian intelligence officer, a figure shrouded in mystery and whispered rumors. The exchange was tense, a delicate dance between adversaries bound by a common goal, uncovering the truth behind the downed aircraft. The Russians, it seemed, had their own interests in the matter, their suspicions pointing towards a rogue faction within their ranks.
The trail was fraught with danger, a tangled web of misinformation, double crosses and shadowy figures operating in the murky depths of the Cold War. Russell, however, was not a man to be deterred. His determination was fueled by a brother's love and a deep-seated sense of justice. He knew time was of the essence, that each passing moment could mean the difference between life and death for Joe and the others stranded on that remote island. His investigation uncovered a clandestine operation, a plot with the potential to tip the balance of power in the region. As he delved deeper, he realized that his brother's disappearance was no accident. They had stumbled upon something they shouldn't have, a secret that powerful forces were willing to kill to protect.
In the bustling city of Karachi, Phil and I found ourselves drawn into the intricate world of international diplomacy.
Our mission, shrouded in secrecy, was to attend a high-stakes meeting in East Pakistan, a region teetering on the precipice of political upheaval.
We were there to observe, to gather intelligence, and to report back to our superiors.
The meeting brought together a diverse array of players: Pakistani government officials, American diplomats, and representatives from various international organizations.
The atmosphere was thick with tension, a palpable sense of unease hanging in the air.
East Pakistan, geographically separated from West Pakistan and simmering with resentment over economic and political marginalization, was a tinderbox waiting for a spark.
Phil and I, blending in with the crowd, listened intently as discussions unfolded, our keen eyes observing the nuances of body language, the subtle shifts in tone.
We could sense the undercurrents of distrust, the competing agendas vying for dominance.
The fate of East Pakistan, it seemed, hung precariously in the balance, a pawn in a much larger geopolitical game.
As the meeting progressed, Chris and I exchanged covert glances, our shared experience on that remote island forging a bond of unspoken understanding.
We knew we were in over our heads, pawns in a game whose rules we were only beginning to grasp.
Yet we were determined to do our duty, to navigate the treacherous waters of international intrigue with courage and resolve.
The world watched with bated breath as the situation in East Pakistan continued to deteriorate. The potential for conflict, for a humanitarian crisis of unimaginable proportions, loomed large. The stakes were incredibly high, not just for the people of East Pakistan, but for the entire region and the delicate balance of global power. Pakistan, strategically located at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, held immense geopolitical significance. Its ports, particularly those in East Pakistan, were vital for trade and commerce, serving as conduits for goods and resources flowing between East and West. The potential closure of these trade routes, whether due to conflict or political maneuvering, sent shockwaves through the global economy. The United States, deeply embroiled in the Cold War, viewed the situation with growing concern. The Soviet Union, always eager to exploit instability and expand its sphere of influence, was watching closely, offering support to India, which shared its own tense relationship with Pakistan. The specter of a proxy war, a localized conflict with the potential to escalate into a global conflagration, hung heavy in the air. The international community, through organizations like the United Nations, scrambled to find a peaceful resolution to avert a humanitarian catastrophe. Diplomatic efforts intensified, aimed at de-escalating tensions and finding a political solution that would address the legitimate grievances of the East Pakistani people. The world held its breath, hoping against hope that reason would prevail, that the flames of conflict could be extinguished before they engulfed the entire region.